All those things that I have are nice to have, they're helpful to have, but they're not who I am. They're not the essence of who I am. The essence of who I am is what I can do and give to other people. And so I just don't want to be restricted by that. And so that's my New Year's resolution. Am I living true to who I have chosen to be and what I have chosen to do? And fortunately, to this point in life, I've been able to do that. And I hope that I will for the rest of my time on this earth.
Do you have a particular spiritual practice that you personally practice?
So I would say prayer. I am a professing Christian, and so I do pray to God. I do that daily as part of my devotions and meditation. And I do focus on the work that I do for wisdom and understanding. But yeah, I read the scriptures, I read them for inspiration and understanding, but also prayer. I always start by praying for wisdom because I think that's what the scriptures have always taught us to do. If you ask for wisdom, then a lot of the other things sort of fall out into place. If I want Joe to stop using, then I need the wisdom to help Joe be able to not use. But I always do that. And then, yes, I do pray for individuals, for healing for individuals, for people that are going through different situations. I prayed for a wife that would be a companion. I pray for my kids. I pray for their health. I pray for their direction in life, for their success and happiness.
Do you have a beginner's spiritual practice that you can recommend?
Well, I always like to tell people, go find someone that's worse off than yourself and you'll have a whole new perspective on life. I don't know if that's a really spiritual practice.
I would say it is.
But I think it is. I'm reminded of a friend of mine whose son went to India and he came home and asked what he learned. And he said, I have a whole new definition of poor. I think that for individuals who have been injured, I think the first thing is to come to understand that we may also have injured others, and so I would say don't start by trying to figure out who hurt you. Think about your own life and how you may have hurt somebody. Is there someone you have done something wrong to? Did your actions cause someone to suffer? And then why? Were you acting out? Were you ill? What were the things that caused you to behave that way? And now, could you maybe understand that someone else might have unintentionally, or hopefully not, but intentionally hurt you? And what's the biggest step? The first step is to forgive them. Forgive yourself and to forgive them. And then you can begin to heal yourself.
Why would someone want to forgive someone else? What's in it for them?
Their own peace of mind. Nothing more.
So you would say that when they forgive someone, they're not actually doing it for the person who they're forgiving, they're doing it for themselves.
I believe that's true. I believe it's for their own mental health, for their own emotional health. You can become something, but you have to be able to forgive other people, and then you can move forward.
Why do you care what happens to other people?
I care because I've learned to love other people. Again, I believe there's a scriptural mandate, if you will, an incentive, that God loved the world and gave His Son is the motto, the verse. It's a pattern, and that we learn to love other people and to give of ourselves. That's, to me, it's a universal truth, I guess. Not the biggest theologian, but I just simply believe that maybe even selfish, admit it, that it makes me feel good. When I do something for someone else, I feel good.
Describe a time when you did something for someone else and you felt good. Describe what you did and how that felt to you, please.
Had a couple who came to the office where I was working at the time, and were homeless, wanting to get back home. I was able to help them get bus fare, basically back to Chicago. Got them to the bus station, put them on the bus, got kind of a question whether they'd ever get there, whether it really meant anything. But I got a note back from them saying, yeah, we made it, and Mom, we're back and everything's fine. And just a sense that you did something for somebody. Some of the kids at the Royal Family Kids Camp, it's little things. Maybe just taking their hand and help them learn to cast the hook and catch a crawdad and see the excitement on their face. It doesn't take too much, but to see a little kid who catches the first crawdad on a piece of bacon and their smile is just wide, how can that not affect you?
If you could change one thing about the Los Angeles mission, what would it be?
I talk a lot about the concept of a mission without walls. That it's not about this building.
It's not about
or this
this address,
place, not this address. It's about the spirit of service. It's about telling people that there's hope. There are, services available and so forth. And I think that I would say I'd like us to be more well known for the services that we provide to be able to help others. That people took the message, if you will, of what we do, and there's help, there's opportunity here if you come here. That's probably the thing that I would change. If more people would know that they could come here and get help. Understand that it's more than the bed, it's more than the reputation for the best food on Skid Row or whatever, those kind of things. But that they would come here and experience a concept of love, unconditional love. I think that's what makes us different. I encourage my staff that it's the right thing to do is to love somebody, and then all the rest of it will fall into place. I know it sounds a little Pollyanna, but it's true.
I'm going to give you two examples of people. One is a person like yourself or me, an intelligent, educated person, maybe wife, kids, maybe single, whatever, busy in their life, busier than a one-armed paper hanger.
Okay.
Not of service to anyone other than themselves. Never really have been. Never even really thought about doing it. Happy, cruising along, everything's good, rock and roll. Mm-hmm. The other person is someone maybe single, maybe in a family, struggling. It's all they can do to cook dinner each night. Financially struggling, serially unemployed, whatever. Why would each of those people want to be of service to someone other than themselves?
I think there's perhaps two reasons. Let me take the person who has the need themselves. I believe that ultimately that experience of serving someone else helps to give you a sense of worth and dignity. So if you don't have anything, to find someone who needs something more than you do helps to give you a perspective on life, that you're not the very bottom of the rung. And you can do something for somebody else and experience that sense of blessing someone, of giving or caring for someone. And so I think they do it. I find that it's interesting, our donors at the mission, for the most part, are people not of means. They understand the worth and dignity that they get by helping somebody else. For the person who's running 1,000 miles an hour and hasn't figured it out yet, my suggestion is stop. Because when you do, and when you ask yourself, is it really worth it? What have I really done with my life? And everybody gets there, some of us sooner than others. The answer is not going to be what you want it to be if you haven't been helping other people along the way. There's going to be a lot of I wish I did. It's not I wish I made the last deal in my deathbed. It's I wished I'd spent time with my kids. I wished I'd done this thing for somebody
I'd worked
else.
more Thanksgivings in the soup kitchen. Something.
Yes, exactly. I wished I had done something more of value to others than just adding another zero or comma in my bank account or another trophy in my awards.
If you knew you could not fail, what would you attempt?
I would give everybody an intact, healthy, living environment in which to grow and become the individual being that they were created to be. I do think that it is important for children particularly to have a fair and healthy start on life. And I don't care if they're in the Sahara Desert or they're in Boyle Heights or Beverly Hills. they should be treated, they should be nurtured, they should be grown in ways that allow them to become healthy human beings.
How can we as a society end homelessness?
We can end homelessness by, one, providing the housing resources for individuals, but also by giving individuals the ability to become independent, the resources to have a job that will provide them the income to maintain housing, and that addresses some of the other underlying issues that create homelessness, be they mental health, be they education, be they addiction. There's lots of different reasons why people become homeless. But as I tell people, my wife in her 3rd grade class asks kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Raise your hand. There's nobody raising their hand to be a homeless person on the streets of LA. For some people, it's not about the house. You know, if that were the issue, we'd rent all the Marriotts in the LA area, put everybody in a room, and homelessness would be ended because everyone would be in a room. Everyone would have a home. What's necessary is the services and the support to help people be independent and to be able to be productive and to care for themselves.
Who are your heroes and why?
Martin Luther King. I grew up in a white neighborhood, didn't see a black person probably till I was 8 or 9 years old. But understood the struggle of that community, the need for dignity, the inhumane treatment that was received. Just always tore at me. And to see him a minister of the gospel with his faith, but also the civic responsibility and care for individuals regardless of their faith issues. Nobody should be sitting at the back of the bus. Nobody should have to have their own water fountain or a restroom. That isn't spiritual, that's just humanity. And I think that's important. He's a hero to me. Jimmy Carter is a hero to me because in spite of his missteps perhaps in the presidency, not the most effective president, if you will, I think he's one of the most effective presidents as a human being by what he did after that. He's defined to me as the Habitat for Humanity, the care, the lending his power, lending himself to a cause greater than the presidency, in my opinion.
Let's pretend for a moment that on the other side of this camera, all 6.7 billion of us are going to watch this video. What would you say to us?
I would say, love God and love your neighbor as yourself.
If I could grant you any superpower, which would you select?
I think invisibility.
And why?
Because I'd like to go up and put my arm around some kids that just need to be held, but I don't want them to know that I'm the person that did it.
You want them to be held, but you don't want... Okay. So you just want to be anonymous.
I want to be anonymous. It isn't about me. It's about...
It's about them getting a hug.
It's about them getting a hug. It's about them knowing that somebody loves them. It's kind of what drives the Royal Family Kids Camp we talked about earlier. I don't care if they ever remember Herb Smith.
You just want them to know that big guy that was there,
big, ugly old white guy in the corner who can't jump, he cares about me at the end of the day. Somebody loves me.
Is there anything about your work, your spiritual practice, your thoughts about service or politics or humanity that you think that I've neglected to ask you that you think bears mentioning right now?
I think that politics should not be about partisan. They should be about how to help the community, how to help people. And I don't care what stripe, what color, what animal you support. If you're not helping people, you're not doing the things that create people's ability to grow and develop in healthy and supportive and strong environments, then I don't care what your politics are. I think that as a country, we need to get back to understanding the worth of a human being, the worth of an individual, and however that comes out, whatever policies that is, we need to be supportive of individuals, and we need to focus on people. It's at the end of the day about people, not the fastest airplane or the most advanced science or whatever monument, library you built to yourself, all that stuff. Well, again, all of which could be good, but we've got to focus on the needs of people. There's certain levels of equality that I think are fundamental to anyone's ability to be a person. And yes, it starts with food. We all know, you need food and water. You're not going to live. But the medical care and education, it's that sense of love, it's that sense of care that somebody cares about you. It's fundamental that everybody really wants it in their darkest moment. They want to know somebody else cares. Whether it's a parent, a sibling, a friend, who cares about me? If nobody cares about you, there isn't any value in living.
How do we create that change of heart within our society?
We've got to go back, I guess, to a fundamental piece of community, which is I care about you and you care about me. And then most of the other problems will solve themselves, because if you're falling down on the sidewalk and hurting, I'm going to step over and help you get up. It's being willing to step forward. I just look at your shirt there, actually. To step forward and help someone. To step forward and care about other people. That's what makes it all happen.
Thank you so much for meeting with me and consenting to this interview. I'm very grateful.